Getting us started after 8 o'clock, that was The National and Blood Buzz Ohio from the 2010 album High Violet, and you're very welcome back to the show. My name is Stephen McCauley, and if you want to say hello tonight, you can text us on 81771, you can WhatsApp the show on 03030 80 55 55, or you can email on smcshow@bbc.co.uk. And I'm delighted to say that we have a session with the incredible Tom Smith this week. Tom is best known as the lead singer with the band Editors, who emerged in 2002 with a sound which drew inspiration from bands like Joy Division and post-punk in general. And over the years, that sound has twisted and turned and reshaped and evolved. And finally, in 2025, Tom has decided to release a solo album, a debut solo album. It's called There Is Nothing in the Dark Which Isn't There in the Light, and it comes out on the 5th of December. And there are some absolutely breathtaking moments on there. Tom went on a solo tour earlier this year that stopped off in Derry's Nerve Centre, and he very kindly dropped in for a few songs in a chat while he was here. This is the first of 3 songs we're going to hear tonight, and I'll be chatting to Tom shortly too. In session, this is Tom Smith and Life is for Living.
Hope that you can't find a meaning, entwined like a figure of 8. Your head in the clouds and your feet on the moon, your eyes as they start to dilate. Life is for living any way you want. Life is for living, live it till it's gone. On your shoulders, but your thirst would swallow a sea. Put a hand on my back and share suffering and breathe with me. No one said it would be easy, 'cause all we pretend to be are not heroes. Daydreamers who climb redwoods who peak so. There's nothing to fear here. So open the door and I'll hear you singing. Life is for living any way you want. Life is for living, live it till it's gone. Live it till it's gone. Live it till it's gone. And all we pretend to be are heroes, daydreamers who climb redwoods who peak so. There's nothing to fear here, so open the door and I'll hear you singing. Light it all, light it all, light it all up, la la, light it all, light it all, light it all up, la la, light it all, light it all, light it all up, la la, light it all, light it all, light it all up, la la. There's nothing to fear here. There's nothing to fear here. Nothing to fear here. Life is for living any way you want. Life is for living any way you want. Life is for living any way that you want. Life is for living, live it till it's gone. Live it till it's gone.
Time to return to our session, and this week our guest is Editors frontman Tom Smith. Tom releases his debut solo album, There Is Nothing in the Dark Which Isn't There in the Light, on the 5th of December. I'll be chatting to him about it in a few minutes, but first, taken from that album in session, this is Tom Smith and Deep Dive.
In the birth of a morning, in the passing of time, in the wake of December, in the time of your life, I will always remember the space when you spoke. In between the words, we were struggling to float. But it's a deep dive, learning to breathe. I don't know what you keep down there in your deepest ocean. You'll heal eventually. You are not alone when you're lonely. We all get left behind. You are not alone when you're lonely. There is nothing in the dark that isn't there in the light. Your sadness is an arc, it's helpless in a tide. 'Cause nothing's ever simple, superstitious man. If there's an outstretched arm, you should take it if you can. You better take it if you can. But it's a deep dive, learning to breathe. And I don't know what you keep down there in your deepest ocean. You'll heal eventually, and you are not alone when you're lonely. We all get left behind. You are not alone when you're lonely. You are not alone when you're lonely. There is nothing in the dark that isn't there in the light. There is nothing in the dark that isn't there in the light. But it's a deep dive, learning to breathe. I don't know what you'll keep down there in your deepest ocean. You'll heal eventually. You are not alone when you're lonely. We all get left behind. And maybe we got left behind. But I'm alive and you're alive. And maybe we got left behind. But I'm alive and you're alive. And maybe we got left behind. But I'm alive and you're alive.
In session, that was Tom Smith, and I'm delighted to say that he joins me now. Tom, you're very welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Hello.
What made you decide to do a solo record?
It's been like a little voice in my head for years. You know, it's been a little thing in the back of my mind. Whenever I write a song, whether it's for editors or anyone else, they tend to start off in a similar way, with me on an acoustic guitar or piano, and you know, they grow from that point through collaboration and with the band or whoever else, and they become different things. But I'd been thinking for a few years that it would be nice to put a record out that was perhaps a bit more in line, a bit in tune with the songs as they are when I first write them. And I think, you know, we'd come out of COVID, which was obviously a strange time for everybody, but musicians, it was like,
I don't know. And I'm mid-40s, there's a part of me going, well, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it, you know. I'm already in the process of making a new record with editors, you know, those things happen, and with that comes a whole time period of touring, and it's wonderful. But I just felt like I need to seize the moment here and do it. Also, the last editor's record, EBM, was an album in which we made with Blank Mass, Ben, and there was less writing from my side with that record. So I had quite a lot of songs and ideas in the background. I thought, well, now's the time, if otherwise I won't do it.
You've kind of touched on this, but what can you do on a solo record that you can't do on an editor's record?
One of the reasons for doing it for myself was to be more selfish and to be less collaborative. Yeah. You know, what's wonderful about the band is that the songs go places that I would never expect, and all 5 of us have, or 6 on the last record, but 5 normally, opinions and ideas and egos and all that stuff that makes bands interesting and fun and hard work and rewarding. And the songs grow into things that are surprising for me. But I just felt like now I wanted a bit more selfish and a bit less collaborative, and I guess have them a bit more, like I say, reflections of the things I tend to write, you know, or to feel more connected with how they are to start with. Throughout our 20-year editor's career, we've always done acoustic versions of songs and done radio sessions, and every now and again there might be a gig or a charity show that we've done acoustically. So people who know the band know there's that side to the band. But if you didn't know the band intimately, you probably wouldn't know that. So it probably sounds a little bit more of a surprise to hear me singing in this kind of format. But yeah, I knew it was there. I just wanted to let it out for a bit.
What are the preoccupations in these songs? When you stand back and look at this body of work, this record,
yeah,
what are you singing about?
I think I'm known as like a singer of sad songs, you know, and people always ask me about kind of darkness and where that comes from, and a lot of that is to do with the aesthetic of the music that I've made, I think, as much as, or maybe, you know, I'm not writing out and out pop music, do you know what I mean? So I get it. But I think this record is quite a hopeful record. It kind of focuses on connection with people that you love, and that kind of connection getting you through harder times, maybe at harder moments. I think there's also across the album quite a healthy dose of me looking back and thinking about the passing of time, perhaps me in a different chapter of my life or different chapters of my life. So there's a bit of, you know, being a guy in his mid-40s writing songs, thinking about being young again, pining for that as well. It all felt quite natural, you know.
It strikes me as a personal record.
Yeah, I think it is, you know, and I think in collaboration, so I made this record with Iain Archer on production, but also songwriting we were collaborating as well. So he would work me pretty hard trying to get lyrics out that perhaps feel a little bit more easier to understand than I've done previously. I kind of revel in ambiguity and being, you know, I'm not afraid of the word nonsense is a little bit over the top, but I like kind of like throwing words together and it feeling kind of theatrical and over the top, and with editors it works well, but it might not necessarily make total sense, as you were, you know what I mean? I think with this record, Iain was trying to make me make more sense.
How do lyrics work with you? Are you somebody who carries a notebook around all the time, or is it something that you sit down in a focused way for a particular song and write words?
I do have a notebook, yeah, and there are sometimes observations of observations or something that will just spark a moment in me, and I'll write it down. But in terms of like fleshing those things out into songs, it does start with melody really, and a kind of perhaps a chord progression, and something will happen, something will spark, and then it will feel like that collection of words has a meaning and a weight to it that feels like I need to grow. It needs to grow from there, you know, and that can then take days, weeks, months, sometimes to have the whole lyric. And
is that a tense process? You know, you're trying to resolve something. You're trying to get to a place where you've resolved this idea.
It can be. I feel like on the back room, like all those songs, you know, they came together in like seconds, you know, lyrically, like Munich or Bullets and those things. I just remember sat on in the student bedroom and it was just like lightning, you know. Those moments are few and far between now. So there's a little bit more. It's a bit more arduous, and it can be a bit, you know, It feels like hard work sometimes, but with age comes an appreciation of like, well, you know, you don't need to get stressed about this. You know, it's like, it will come, but sometimes, yeah, it can be a little bit stressful, yeah. You know, yeah. I always like, you don't quite, I don't know where inspiration comes from. I always kind of think of it as like some tap above my head, and, you know, one day it might get turned off, you know.
The album's called There Is Nothing in the Dark Which Isn't There in the Light.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you reassuring with that title? Is it yourself? Is it a loved one?
That's a good question. One of the themes is kind of shared struggle, you know, getting through things together. So I think there's probably a case for both of those scenarios, to be honest. But I think my first answer would be person close to me. Yeah.
The solo album has enormous links to Ireland. You worked very closely with, as you mentioned yourself, Iain Archer, but you also recorded at Attica Studios in Donegal. So firstly, I'll talk about Attica in a second, but firstly, what did Iain bring to this project?
You know, when I set out to, when I made the decision to set out on this journey to do this, you know, it was obviously needed to find somebody to help me. But at that point, other than wanting to make a more acoustic record, I didn't have a concrete version of what this was going to be in my mind, both sonically and also with the songs as well. Because I know that when you get into a studio with a person, songs grow and develop, and that's part of it. That's what I love about it. You know, you can't really make a solo record. There's always somebody else involved, and it's important. You know, so even though this is a solo record, you know, without Iain, it wouldn't have happened. And I think someone to push me, like we talked about lyrics earlier, but also with an understanding of kind of like making a record that feels kind of intimate and woody and kind of have this kind of rich acoustic texture, and not be afraid to be bare and sparse with the presentation sometimes, and then knowing when on a song or two to push the arrangements perhaps where that was necessary or felt appropriate, you know. So on the first session, the first 3 days, the first thing we did was deep dive, and that song became the opening song on the record. The lyric is in that song is the title of the album, and it was really just that moment of going, it all clicking into focus, probably from his side too, going, you know, I have a vision now of what we're going to, of the journey we're about to set out on. You know, I was thinking, okay, I can do this with you, Iain, and so I mean, he's an amazing guitarist as well. You know, he's kind of, the way he plays and the notes he chooses. I just used to love sitting there listening to him play pedal steel as well and stuff like that. So, and I've known Iain for a few years. We've kind of with circle of friends overlap a little bit, especially from the kind of Snow Patrol time and hanging out and stuff. So there was a friendship there, but it was lovely to work with him too. Yeah.
And what about Attica? It's an amazing studio in the depths of Donegal. What was it like working there? Why were you working there, first of all?
Well, Iain had worked up there before, and Tommy, the guy that owns the place, is a friend of Iain's, and they'd worked together on something Iain had worked on previously. But the idea was, because we spent so much time in Brighton writing and recording the songs to a point, and those sessions were done in kind of like 2 or 3 days kind of spurts, and then I would go back to, for example, touring with editors summers and in the summer, and then maybe a month later another 3 days. So it's quite fractured, but in some ways it enabled the process creatively as well, working like that. But after pretty much a year of doing that, I was like, well, in order to make this record finished, to get into like a quote unquote proper studio, somewhere that feels in its setting appropriate as well. Like, it's a beautiful part of the world there. I'd never been before, but it's just wide open, gorgeous. And we wanted to have someone come and play some double bass and a bit of drums. So there's a couple of people that came and hung out for a week, and it just kind of put the record together. It just kind of like, I don't know, dotted the T's and crossed the, you know, like it just finished it, you know what I mean? We also did record the song Saturday there entirely, so it was quite a productive time, but absolutely stunning spot and a beautiful studio.
Did you get a chance to check out Donegal at all while you were
Well,
there?
we went to the coast a couple of times, so me Iain and I got in the sea, and it was, what time of year was it? It was, which side of Christmas was it? Anyway, it was absolutely freezing, unbelievable, and you know, a few pints of Guinness obviously, but there was a lot of work, so yeah, it was fun.
So you're in the middle of a tour at the moment, and it's very, very different. I mean, what's it like going out on the road on your own and doing these smaller shows?
Terrifying. Certainly the first night was. Like I said before, I've done acoustic performances before, but I felt like a tour like this, kind of slightly more adventurous, kind of getting out to places that perhaps I wouldn't normally go or haven't been to before. You know, we've just done 5 shows around Scotland, up in Ullapool and Stornoway, and then we're kind of coming into Derry, and then around 4 or 5 shows around Ireland, and then even the ones in England and Wales are places that aren't major towns, you know. It felt like it might give life and presence to me as a solo thing, you know. This summer I've been with the band, we've been rehearsing and recording, because, you know, my record was finished probably 6 months ago, so, and a couple of songs had come out on the radio and stuff, but it still didn't feel real. It didn't feel like it was a thing, you know. Like I said, I've been spending my Monday to Fridays with the band and thinking about that, and then it came to the end of the summer, and then getting in a car with a friend of mine and doing all the driving and loading in and out and all the work ourselves. And then these shows, really intimate, some of them were like just 60, 70 people, you know, like village halls. It just starts to make the thing feel like a thing. You know, I don't know how to describe that any better than that. But so yeah, I've been playing about 8 songs off my solo record, and I'm also playing a lot of editor songs and the Smith & Burrow song too. So yeah, just get out there and see stuff.
Does it feel like going back to the start?
In some ways, yeah. I mean, it's been a while since I've been doing the load in the load-outs. That really was the beginning. It feels very bare, you know. It feels very honest. Also, that's to do with like the fact, you know, when the band plays, you're on a high stage, it's loud, and there's 5 or 6 of us on stage, and you can hide in that noise and that amount of people, you know, or you can become something that isn't perhaps an accurate reflection of yourself, you know, like me sat there with an acoustic guitar, like those awkward moments in between the songs where we're tuning and it's just silent, and it's like, it's, you know, you learn something about yourself, and it's a lot more honest, and people are kind of, I guess, seeing the real me, for the want of a better phrase, but it's been fun, it's been great, I've really enjoyed it.
Sinead O'Connor once said that art is a conversation with your own soul.
Right.
And I'm just wondering, have you found out anything about yourself in the process of making this solo record?
I mean, I'm still learning, you know. I don't know, I'm learning about kind of songwriting craft and writing lyrics, and I don't suppose you ever stop learning, you know. That's the beauty of working with different people and collaboration, and like that's how you keep any kind of longevity in being creative, you know. I think of that's 20 years for editors now, you know, and I'm immensely proud of the fact that we're still doing that, finding ways to write songs and work with people and do things, you know, just to keep it fresh and mix it up. And have I learned anything about my own soul? I don't know. That's a bit, I'm not sure I'm ready to be quite so profound right now. But maybe at the end of this tour, maybe, you know, when I finish this kind of cycle of working on this record, I'm excited about people hearing it, and there'll be more tour dates next year. And, you know, it's certainly not a record that I'm going to take to traditional festivals. It's all going to be like this, you know, it's going to be sparse and open and lots of awkward silences. You know,
you mentioned that you're playing a lot of editors' tracks on this tour. Would you play an editor's song for us?
Sure, yeah, I'd love to, yeah.
What would you play for us? And tell us a little bit about it before we hear it.
Well, I'll do Smokers Outside the Hospital Doors, you know, the song off our second record that I think, I know there's a level of connection that was reached with that song, and perhaps that lyric that kind of, you know, that song got us to the Brits and stuff like that. It was a pretty crazy time. I've always thought of ourselves as an alternative band, and we are an alternative band, always have been, always will be. But at that moment, we were perhaps as mainstream as we would ever want to be, yeah, or will ever be again. And yeah, that's, I mean, it's a pretty bleak image. But I remember kind of walking down Park Hill Road, just near where I lived in North London at the time, and white van man kind of pulling down the window, singing it out the window, driving past me as I was walking along. So it had its moment, which was a bit strange, you know.
Tom, it's wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Pull the blindfold down so your eyes can't see. Now run as fast as you can through this field of trees. Goodbye to everyone you've ever known. You're not gonna see them ever again. I can't shake this feeling I got. My dirty hands, have I been in the wars? The saddest thing that I'd ever seen was smokers outside the hospital door. And someone turned me around. And can I start this again? And how can a way where our smile with our mouths wide shut? You stopped us from singing. I can't shake this feeling I got. My dirty hands, have I been in the wars? The saddest thing that I'd ever seen was smokers outside the hospital doors. Oh, someone turn me around. Can I start this again? And now someone turn us around. And can we start this again? We've all been changed from what we were. Our broken hearts smashed on the floor. We've all been changed from what we were. Our broken hearts smashed on the floor. Someone turn me around. Can I start this again? And now someone turn us around. And can we start this again? Oh.
In session, that was Tom Smith with an old editor's classic, Smokers Outside the Hospital Doors. He releases his debut album, There Is Nothing in the Dark, which isn't there in the light, on the 5th of December. And a huge thank you to Tom himself for dropping into the programme. We're going to have some Northern Soul right now. This is Chuck Wood and 7 Days Too Long.